You are what you think about all day long. What you think about, you bring about. As a man or woman thinketh in their heart, so are they. The kingdom of heaven is within. What to say when you talk to yourself. That is the name of an excellent book that I read some years ago that I should definitely reread. And the premise of that book is the way that we speak to ourselves is so important. It's the thing that is going to allow you to make exponential growth, to rise to the highest concept of yourself, or fall to the very lowest of pits of yourself. What you say when you talk to yourself is what takes you to your next level. And if you don't have a good self talk or awareness, you can easily be hijacked by other people who will tell you what you should say, how you should feel, what you should think. You have to have a form of self talk that is impenetrable. No matter what somebody else says about you, you know who you are. And you're continually looking to grow and improve for yourself. Today's video, I want to talk about the 5 toxic everyday habits that I switched around and what I do now. And to show you that it's real, I got a receipt note because I was just in the moment thinking about making this video because it's something that I needed to hear that helped me get to this point in my life. And obviously, I'm always a work in progress. As long as I'm alive, I'm going to continue to change. At least I hope so. If you are where you were 10 years ago, you haven't improved. You've actually fallen back. You know why? Because time is continuing to pass. Time doesn't wait for anybody. Life does not wait for you to get in the perfect space to act. You have to act before you feel like it. And you put the work in until it works out. Okay? I'm outstanding, so I stand out. Period, Miguel. Period. Got more babes in that bathhouse. I'm Top Gun on my Tom Cruise. I play for keeps and I don't lose. You more than love it cause it cool as a breeze. So pick your poison, yeah, I got what you need. Period. Okay? You gotta hype yourself up. So anyway, without further ado, the 5 toxic habits that I have eliminated, changed. Negative self-talk. I'm speaking positive words over my life, over my situation. I realize that everything, and not just saying this, genuinely meaning it, I realize I have everything that I need to succeed. Everything that I need is all that I have. All that I have is all that I need. Period. It wouldn't be put on me if I couldn't handle it. And the only reason I'm having to handle it is because it's what's empowering me to get to that next stage. You can't tell me that I'm lying. You can't tell me that I'm lying because think about it. Anytime that you've been empowered to change your life, it's usually off the backs of something inherently or what you would view as inherently negative. You've never seen a one-sided piece of paper. Ever. It's double-sided. It's always 2 sides. That's duality. We can get into that a whole different day, but you need the negative to empower you to change. I was listening to a podcast, Diary of a CEO. I will put the link in the description if you guys want to check it out. But I was listening to a podcast, and what the guest was saying that really stuck with me was it's actually negative situations that empower you to make the most change in your life. It's the negative situations that motivate you to create a change. That's why when something negative happens and you want to go and vent about it, venting about it isn't necessarily good because venting about something pacifies your desire to make a change. If you really want to make a change in your life, you have to not vent about it or complain about it. You have to make the change. You cannot, If you want to make the world a better place, just look at yourself and make that change. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking her to change her ways. And no message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make that change. Period. I guess I'm just in a singing mood today, you guys. And this video is not getting any edits. I'm not editing nothing out. You get in the full scale me. Start with yourself. Speak positive affirmations over yourself. If you don't have positive affirmations to speak over yourself, incorporate that into your life. So for me, I specifically love listening to high vibrational music. I'll have to make like a playlist or something and show you guys like the music that I listen to. But like some of the artists I listen to have full-on affirmation albums. Shout out Tone Levels. Shout out Londrell. Shout out Free Soul. Shout out Lava. Shout out Lizzie Jeff. Shout out Lord Vision. Like, they're out there. You have to just seek them and you listen to that music continuously. If you're in a negative space of mind, don't be listening to no negative music. Don't be listening to no negative people. And be careful of the people that you surround yourself with. If the people that are around you are always negative, I'm sorry, baby. If you're trying to get to that next level, they may have to go to the back seat for a little bit. My grandma used to tell me, everybody cannot be on the front row of your life. Okay? Everybody cannot be in the front row of your life. Some people got to be on the second and third row. You can love people a lot and they not have access to you full out. People who have full access to you, you should have full access to you first. Let's talk about that. Do you like yourself? Do you like your own company? Can you go somewhere by yourself without nitpicking every single little thing? Can you do that? If you can't, you got to start there. Before you want other people to sit with you and your negativity and your toxicity, if that's what you have inside of you, you got to do the work and think actually for yourself. Get into some meditation and think about it. How do you expect other people to want to be around you? So what I did, and look, I'm not attacking you. When I'm talking to you, I'm talking to myself, really, honestly, and truthfully. The negative self-talk has got to stop. We're not talking negatively about ourselves or our situation. We're realizing we're empowered. We realize that we're not the victim. We realize that we're still alive and breathing, and where there's life, there is hope. And we realize that the only thing that we can control is ourselves, which brings me to my second negative behavior that I stopped doing. And that was worrying about things that I cannot control. Okay? And something that I cannot control, nor do I want to control, is other people, their life, their decisions, where they go, what they do, why they do what they do. I've stopped trying to sit around and figure out what people do, why they do what they do. I have enough work figuring out why I do the things that I do. Honestly, when you really get deep down into this self-work, this self-healing, it's not cutesy and artsy-fartsy like people be making it seem. Doing the work is hard. Looking at yourself and being like, dang, you know what? I was really messed up for that. Dang, I really should have did X, Y, and Z. That is hard. You know, every man is right in their own eyes, baby. Every man or woman is right in their own eyes. You can justify how you felt in the moment. You get into an argument. Again, this is the double-sided piece of paper argument. You get into it with somebody. Your perspective says they were wrong because of A, B, C, and D. I go talk to this person. Let's say I go talk to this person. They think you were wrong because from their perspective, X, Y, and Z happened. So you cannot worry about things that you can't control. You cannot control other people. You can barely probably even control yourself. There's a thing called emotional intelligence. You got it? Do you have it? Do you know what that is? That's being able to regulate and be in tune with your emotions and how you feel. And also being aware of other people and what they might need. That's hard. When somebody does you dead wrong or what you see is dead wrong, it's hard to look and say, What is this other person's perspective? What could that? You don't care. All you think about is I was wrong, and rightfully so, sis. I get it. I get it. I get it. But again, you cannot. I have to keep looking at my notes, y'all, because I'll just keep yapping and I'll go on a bunch of tangents. You cannot worry about things that you can control. You cannot control. And for me specifically, it was other people. And you have to realize also, wanting to control other people is a form of control and manipulation. I would not describe myself as a manipulative person. But when I really sat and thought about it, how deeply I wanted some changes for people in my life or used to be in my life, I can't control them. Neither should I want to. And honestly, the real freedom comes in not even wanting to control people. I want you to do what you want to do through and through, baby. But maybe not around me. That's the real kicker right there. I am fully empowered to have the people that I want to have around me and not have the people that I don't want to have around me. If you're not doing what I want or what I like, you don't have to be in my life, honey bunny. No. In fact, it's better if you go where you came from. You feel me? So for me, it's people, but it's also situations. You lost your job. Guess what? There's 1,000 jobs out there. Your coworker doesn't like you. Again, that goes back to people. Who cares? You there to get some money. Your car broke down. Guess what? God, source creator, is leveling up your life so you can get another car. Maybe you got to catch the bus. Maybe through catching the bus, you meet your future spouse. Maybe through catching the bus, you come across a new opportunity. Maybe through catching the bus, you open up your awareness and consciousness to something that you otherwise would not have. You don't know. You never know. We live here and reside in these 3D bodies and vessels, and we think that we're just like all knowing. We know everything. All you have to do, and that's the best thing, is trust and believe. And you don't even have to do that. But if you want to live a full life that is not full of disease, that is full of wholeness, happiness, peace, serenity, no matter what is going on, in whatever state you can be content. You can be content in whatever state when you release the need to control things. You just allow things. Okay, another lyric is coming to mind. I had to learn not to chase. I had to learn to attract. I had to embrace all the lessons, and I'm thankful for that. Wisdom comes with experience. No need for interference. Let me learn what I learn. I take the wheel and I'm spinning. All things are possible to he and she who believe. If it don't align with your spirit, have the courage to leave. The only change is going to happen if I change myself. Glory by Tone Levels. Didn't I shout him out earlier in the video? That's the affirmations. Those are things that come to mind when you're in the deep dives of situations in your life. You think about that stuff and you get animated and you have gratitude and I don't even want to say happy, because you're not going to be happy, and happy is not the objective. Honestly, contentment is the objective. Wanting a happy experience is a negative experience. Being okay with things being as they are, that's where true freedom lies. Number 3, ignoring my intuition. So oftentimes in life, we get into this space where we ask other people, what do you think I should do? How should I do this? How should I do that? Baby, if you got to ask somebody else, you already know the answer. You just want somebody to validate and to affirm whatever situation that you're in. You don't need nobody else's validation. You don't need nobody else to affirm what you're doing, because guess what? Nobody else is standing in judgment with you. And I'm not talking about, okay, I grew up in a very religious upbringing. I'm not religious anymore. I would say I'm very spiritual. But when judgment happens every single day, every single moment, you're supposed to take a sober estimate of yourself continuously. That's how you improve. That's how 10 years from now, you're not the same person. The only way that you become the same person that you've always been is you're not looking to change. You're not looking to self-develop. Because if you are, and if you're looking at that every single day, even a month from now, you're going to have a new mindset, a new space, a new way of being that you otherwise did not have. If you're constantly taking a sober estimate of yourself, if you're constantly using your intuition and not ignoring it, if you're allowing your intuition to take charge, empower you. You know, they say the mind over matter. You can't allow, again, that's why assessing yourself, having positive self-talk about yourself will help you make more grounded decisions. Your intuition will be clear and you will not seek out other people, because also that goes back to the other point about worrying about things that I can't control. You could potentially be asking somebody what they think about what you should do because you're not sure of it, because you want their approval. That's going to go into my other point as well. But you want their approval, so you ask them what they think, but you know what you should do, but you don't want to do it because you don't want to upset nobody. So you ask them so you can get acceptance of what they say before you make the decision. You don't need nobody's acceptance but your own. Are you secure in yourself? Do you feel confident in yourself? Are you accepting of yourself? That's the question that needs an answer. That's the question that needs an answer. Do you accept yourself? Do you love yourself genuinely? And not on no superficial thing. Do you enjoy your own company? Do you trust yourself? If you don't, you have to do the work to get to that point, because guess what? You're born into this world alone. You die alone. Yes, you have your soul family, your soul tribe, your people. Those people come along the way as you're figuring yourself out. But if you don't know who you are, you will find yourself in situations and with people you had no business being with, because you found those people when you were in a low space. Referencing the Diary of a CEO podcast, that guest also mentioned that when people are in recovery for like addiction, and I thought this was very interesting. When people are in recovery for addiction, they tell them that they are not to like pursue, I guess, like romantic relationships. Like they're not able to do that. Why? Because you get trauma bonded. You meet somebody while you're in therapy trying to recover from an addiction of some sort, and you bond with this person because they got the same problems that you have. And instead of you growing from that situation, you get bonded to them, and then you're stuck in that space. So you cannot look to other people. You cannot look to other people for approval, worrying about what they're going to do. Your self-talk, you cannot just, you got to stand guard at the door of your mind. Neville Goddard, there's a book by Neville Goddard that talks about that, and it talks about the metaphysical aspects of like the Bible, for example, and it talks about how the apostles are just like different states of mind. So like I wish I had my notebook where I wrote down all the notes. Maybe I'll make a different video about that at another point in time. But basically, the principles of mind are that before you allow a thought to enter into and become a part of you, like your because you got your conscious mind and your subconscious mind, before you allow things to go into the space of your unconscious mind or your subconscious mind. Listen, I'm getting a little bit confused, but the principle is you have to stand guard at the door of your mind. You cannot allow just any negative thought, any idea from somebody to come to mind. And when you seek out what somebody else has to say, you're giving them dominion over your decision making. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with asking people for advice. You can ask for advice if it's somebody that you trust or if you just want some feedback. But generally, I would say 99% of the time, baby, you got to turn within. And that's what I started doing. I stopped looking out to other people and saying, what do you think I should do? How should I do this? Because the reality is you could see the end goal for your life. Other people can't see the end goal for your life. They can only see the end goal for their life or their situation or their circumstances. Two people can look at the same thing and see two different things. I just told y'all that. So you asking somebody else what they think, they don't have the eyes to see what you see. And they weren't called to see what you were supposed to see, because their journey is something else. You trying to live their journey, you trying to live your life. You trying to be on your deathbed thinking, what if I shoulda, coulda, woulda? Or you trying to live your life and be the best person that you can be? Which one is it? I just want to know, which one is it? So let's rehash. We're not worrying about things we can't control, people, places, or things, circumstances. We're realizing that everything is working out for our highest good no matter what, in any space of time. We are stopping our negative self-talk. We're listening to affirmations. We're affirming ourselves. We're bigging ourselves up every single day. We are listening to our intuition. We are no longer ignoring our intuition. Number four, I guess I'm kind of, all of these, if you listen close enough, you will see how all these points kind of intertwine into becoming a more holistic person. But comparing yourself to others, I stopped comparing myself to others. So, what is this? We are in August 2025. September 2025. I was in a very, 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 very low space, y'all. And that comes after like probably one of the worst years of my life, 2023, which is crazy because I really, you cannot tell me God Source Creator does not have a sense of humor, because while 2023 was one of the, if not the worst year of my life, uh, 2023 was so beautiful because my daughter was born, the light of my life. And so out of all the negative, you got the yin and the yang, okay? It was a black hole of negativity in 2023. And the little goodness, a little drop of good was my daughter. And funny enough, the drop of good for my daughter was enough to make everything else worth it. I'm not even holding y'all. 100%. In every good thing, there's a bad thing. In every bad thing, there's a good thing. There's no such thing as a one-sided piece of paper, y'all. So, I which one was I on? Which one was I on? I was on the comparing myself to others. Yes. So again, here I go on the tangent, y'all. Comparing myself to others. I stopped comparing myself to others. I looked at my life, my circumstances, what I wanted from my life. And when I did look at myself in comparison to others, I looked at myself in comparison of like, what did I want and what did I not want? When I compared myself to others, I realized like largely my life was going in the same direction of other people who I didn't want my life to be like. So in a sense, the only type of comparison that I ever did with me and somebody else after a certain point was like, I'm not trying to get down that path, and looking at where I'm at, this is the direction I'm headed. I'm trying to go this way. They doing this, I'm gonna do that. Usually you do the opposite of what somebody does and it works out for you. Not always foolproof, but that's what I found in my life. Do the opposite. So I began to do the opposite. And when you begin to do the opposite, this goes back to the other point about worrying about things you can't control. Other people are going to try to control you, trying to people please, which is going to be my final point, ignoring your intuition. All these things tie together. But I stopped comparing myself to others in the sense of like what I wanted. If people had what I wanted, I didn't have it. Oh, I'm so this, I'm so that. Again, positive self-talk. We got to speak positively over our situation, our circumstances. And what I had to realize was, you know what? It's me versus me. It's me versus me. The only competition that I have is myself. The only competition that I have is me from a year ago, me from 2 months ago, me from a week ago, me from whatever time is my biggest competition. Nobody else is my competition. And it was only when I really tapped into that I was able to really awaken and enliven myself. On a separate video, I will talk about it. I'm not quite where I want to be yet, so I don't want to go too far into it. But I've lost 30 pounds since September of last year. September of last year, I was the heaviest weight I've ever been in my entire life, majorly depressed. And through doing these 5 things that I'm telling you guys right now, I was able to transform my life and lose weight. And I don't even like to say lose weight. I would say, because lose weight, it implies that I lost something. I mean, I didn't want to keep it, so I reduced my weight. I improved my, like, by reducing my weight in that capacity, I improved the goodness of my life, because I was so heavy, y'all. I couldn't even breathe. I'm not even gonna hold you. Like, I was in a very, very negative space, and I just thank God Source Creator that I got past that point, and I'm still on the journey. When I go to the gym now, I used to have major anxiety. I still have a little bit of anxiety going to the gym. I really do. Oop, catching myself, negative self-talk. Every day that I go to the gym, I'm getting better. at learning the equipment, pushing my body to its limits. And every time I get into the gym, I'm creating a new version of myself that is more in alignment with my higher self. You should never finish a negative thought. I just finished a negative thought. But since I finished that negative thought, I'm going backwards and I'm fixing it. So I'm no longer going to say that that happens. I'm going to say the little bit of tension that I feel in my body has and is going to continue to empower me to get better in the gym. Okay. Anyways, so comparing myself to others, going to the gym, I'm not looking at other people. I'm not looking at them and saying, woe is me. I'm not looking at myself and saying, oh, I should do this. I should, blah, 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 blah. That's not going to get me to my next level. Comparing myself to other people is not going to help me get to that next level. Empowering myself, realizing what my strengths are, realizing how I can improve is what's going to get me to that next level. This video is already at 26 minutes, so let me go ahead and wrap it up. The final thing that I stopped doing that has alchemized and helped me become a better version of myself, people pleasing. As a survival and coping mechanism as a child, I became a people pleaser. Now I'm a grown woman with a kid, and somehow, some way, I still held on to that mentality as an adult, and I had to realize and continue to realize how people pleasing is inherently a survival mechanism that I don't have to hold on to. Saying yes when you mean no, it deconditions the mind and it disempowers your vessel to be able to make the choices that you need to make for yourself. Sometimes in life, you're given tests. And sometimes in life, when people are trying you, they want to see how far you're willing to go. They want to see how much you're willing to take at your own expense. You should not do anything at your own expense, because if you're doing something at your own expense, it's going to continue to cost you, the people that you love, the opportunities that you want to have. And it even robs the person that is asking you to do the thing, because sometimes the people that are wanting you to please them are not empowering themselves. And so you're empowering them by disempowering yourself, and it withers away at both you and them over the long term. So getting good at saying no, that is something that my 2-year-old has taught me. And honestly, at her little age of 2.5 years old, she has taught me so much about life. And one of the things she's taught me is no. She learned no quickly. She learned no very quickly. She learned stop. She learned I don't like that. She learned to shake her head. She learned all the things. And I'm so proud of her. I'm so proud of her. And I'm so thankful for the lessons that she taught me. So before this video hits 30 minutes, I thank you guys so much for tapping in with me. Honestly, before this video is 30 minutes, let me hit all 5 points for you one more time. We are alchemizing, and the toxic traits that